folks. Let's do this. Hey, everybody, this is Mike with Just Another G.I. Joe show, and as usual, we are running late. Not my fault. We're going to blame Fred. Him and his Tiger Force shirt, that beautiful Tiger Force shirt. Oh, my goodness, I love that Tiger Force shirt. But anywho, Fred, tell them the famous words where they can find you at, my friends.
All right. First of all,
week one.
The shirt of shame, people. The shirt of shame. Hi, this is Fred. You can find me at JoeBattleLines.com, JoeBattleLines on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus, and I think that's pretty much it for now. So, and yes, I'm wearing Tiger Force for 5 weeks.
It was one week. Week one down, 4 to go. And as you all have been told, we have a special guest with us. I'm very happy to have her on with us. This is Joe Colton, Cosplay with the Finest. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're tickled pink to have you. We know we missed out on you a few episodes ago when we discussed the cosplay for JoeCon. You know, getting the thoughts of what everyone thought about that, and I really have to admit that the Finest did a good job in coming up with their own little ideas at JoeCon. There were a few out there that were really interesting.
Did you like the play sets, the giant play sets?
Oh yeah, yeah, I love that. What really got me, I can't remember the guy's name, and I can't remember the character he did, but instead of having a gun, he had a cardboard cutout gun with Mickey Mouse's picture on it.
Oh, yes.
I laughed so hard. And then the best thing I saw on Saturday was all the Tiger Force guys. Fred, you missed out on all the Tiger Force guys.
You know, I wouldn't say I was missing out.
Oh,
but,
you missed out.
He missed out. I'm sure about Tiger Force that night.
There was a lot of Tiger Force guys there that day, Saturday. A lot of them were there. So basically, Joe, let's talk about. We want to talk about you. We want to know, how long you've been doing cosplay. Why did you decide to start doing cosplay? Let's start there.
So I dabbled in it before 2009, and in 2009, my ex and I went to a Halloween party, and I dressed up as the Baroness, which is my first official costume that I had, and we had such a good time that he was like, "We need to do this again." I said, "Well, there's conventions where people dress up and we do this." He's like, "Yeah, no, I didn't." And I was like, well, we have to find it. So it became after that, and we just continued.
So you've been doing it since 2009 or before 2009? Or right around 2009. Like, so you've been doing it for 8 years.
Yeah, so obsessively since 2009.
Okay, and you have a pretty good size following going on now, don't you? I mean, quite a few thousand people.
On Instagram, it's like over 4,000. Yeah,
4,000. Wow.
I did not expect that.
Really?
I just wanted to up.
Right now, as far as the cosplay, you pretty much started, with the which one did you say was the Baroness, right?
The Baroness was my first one, and then I did Scarlet.
Now I've seen your Scarlet.
Then I just kept going, and then I got into obscure characters like Crimson Asp and Undertow Officer, which was this year.
Yeah, actually, the Undertow Officer was a really good cosplay. I mean, she was up there with the web feet and everything, man. She was taking big steps to get up there.
I got to be honest, I was expecting, given Joe's penchant for duplicating recent club figures, I was thinking Steel Raven, and I was completely taken aback by the walk of the flippers all the way down the hall on video.
Yeah, it was.
So many people thought that I was going to do that one, and I had considered it, and then I thought, no, I wanted to do the Undertow Officer for the last couple of years. So I said, you know what? This is the year.
Nice.
So
it was good. I got to see it firsthand, Fred. It was a very nice cosplay outfit. It was very. I mean, you put some work into that. Now, do you make all your cosplays, or do you have people help you make them, or how's that work?
So I do make most of my costumes. Is a couple like the props I don't make. I get friends to help, or my boyfriend actually made the the trident this year, and it's made out of wood. So
Okay.
I got to help. I painted it, but yeah, the carving and all that. I drew it out and we centered it. But yeah, him and Maggie were the prop team.
Okay. Did you have any issues getting that in for the convention or for the cosplay? Did no one stopped you, asked you, or anything of that nature?
No, because it's so ridiculous. Like I'm carrying a barracuda that was
Yeah.
and this thing, and I can't see. I'm like, it's only out of one eye.
Right.
and,
It's
and
right.
I can get of that. So, and I'm smelling paint fumes because we drove down and I had wrapped it in bubble wrap. So it kept all, even though I aired it out and like left it for 2 days outside to dry, I was smelling the fumes from the spray paint, and it's an actual diver's mask. So I couldn't.
Oh wow.
So you were feeling pretty good by the time you got up to stage with that mask after a while.
I had taken it off because I couldn't see and my equilibrium started going. But yeah, it was a nice time.
Now, Fred, I'll let you ask some questions. I'm going to sit here and talk all damn night long. Ask the questions, Fred.
How is this any different than normal?
See, you didn't have to go there. I'm just taking in the pride that you got Tiger Force on.
Oh, yeah. All right. So Mike's already alluded to this, but you've got a great following for cosplay work anymore. You've done a large cast of characters at this point. Do you have a favorite? And it doesn't have to be a G.I. Joe favorite. It can be. I think I know where you're probably going, but who's your favorite? Who's the one that you're like, you know what? Yeah.
So it's a tie between Scarlet and Wonder Woman.
Oh.
That's where I thought you were going with the second choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the pictures here lately, I've seen a lot of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I didn't want to do Wonder Woman because so many people have done such a good job. And I thought, if I'm going to do Wonder Woman, it has to be one, Linda Carter, because I grew up with Linda Carter.
Hell yeah.
It has to be like something that I've never seen before. So at Dragon Con, several years ago now, it's got to be like 3 or 4, there was a store in the vendor hall that catered to dominatrix.
I know where we're going with this one.
Oh yeah, and so I saw the costume, and it was a patent leather, and I said, I like it, but do you make it in not shiny leather? Because I don't need to be shiny or glow. And so they were like, yeah, we can show you some samples. And they actually had a sample book right there. And I said, okay, they were like, these are the 2 types. We've only done one, and that's for a dominatrix. And she's in town, and this is her actual costume. And I was like, I like the style. I just don't need it shiny. So from there, I was the second person to get a costume made from them, and it's all leather. The underwear is leather, and it's a lace up, and then the corset on top is layered leather, and that's also a corset. So I can't go to the back.
I was gonna say, and that has to be like 10,000 degrees underneath that thing when you're wearing it with that much leather.
It's pretty cozy.
You're like, I can breathe from the shoulders up, that's fine, but
so I can't eat and I can't pee, obviously, but when it's time to eat, I will like have crackers that I'll like have a little bit of a cracker, 1 or 2 crackers. I'll have a little sip of water or ginger ale, and then that's it, because I can't have too much because I'm gonna sweat it out in a minute, and also and then to go to the bathroom, I basically have to have Maggie unlace me, and then I can go to the bathroom.
Wow.
You know, it's funny because people don't think of that side of cosplay, is that it's almost like when you hear about the stories about the people that do the full makeup on a movie set. And
Yes.
they can't eat for hours, or, you know, it's through a straw, it's little things. And, you know, you don't think that cosplayers are putting in essentially the same amount of effort. So that's pretty
Yes.
impressive to do that for a hobby.
Yeah, and I'm on more on the intense side, so I will go all out. I like to be as accurate as possible. So even with my dread, I do a screen accurate female judge, and that's intense too. So yeah, pretty obsessed.
So somewhere in your house, there's like the normal clothing closet. There's the cosplay closet, I have a feeling.
I'm so glad you guys are not here. Like, my living room is super duper clean right now.
Right now.
But the sewing room has a commission, and then I also have, I'm looking at them. That's why I'm like off looking. I've got a stand that has a Klingon costume.
Okay.
There's other costumes in various degrees of completion. So it's pretty intense.
So, how many do you keep track of how many cons you've done total overall?
Oh no, I can probably get I can probably get the figure, but over the last couple years, I've been doing 20 to 22 shows a year, 23.
Wow. Now, do you?
Yeah.
Now I know for like PeteCon, because me and you were both there. You were invited by Pete Sinclair for that convention, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now are most of your conventions by invite, or do you usually, or is there some that you actually go just to go for fun?
There's some that I go for fun, and some I get invited to as a guest. Like Greater Philly, I was one of the cosplay guests and a cosplay judge. But Dragon Con, I go as a guest, not as a guest, as an attendee. So
Okay.
I'm doing either. It's a different experience on either side of that. So
Right. And if you, I don't know if we really, I know you said your first, so I guess maybe your favorite, did you ask that question what her favorite one was? We did that question. Fred?
No, favorite
I
costume,
did,
yes.
Scarlet.
That's right. And so what would be the ones that you've done and you're kind of like, what was I thinking, and I'll never do that again? Or was there one? Can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, as far as, is there a cosplay that you've done that you thought to yourself, you know, A, what was I thinking, and B, I'll never do it again?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Which one was it?
Roku.
Okay.
She's an assassin. She's got like tentacle braids, really long hair, and her hair turns into braids, and like they're like knives on the end of them and stuff. She's a really cool character. I'll never do that costume again. I can pinpoint exactly when it happened. I was at San Diego Comic-Con last year, but first I had tested it out at AwesomeCon a few months before that. But then I got to San Diego Comic-Con, and I was with Maggie, and we were walking, and I almost passed out. I was sweating from my collarbone, and I could see like the darkness moving in, and she like it freaked her out. So
wow.
Yeah, I'll never do that costume again, ever.
Well, okay,
boots had these weird covers on them that were straight that I couldn't bend my ankles. I had a neck brace type thing, me from turning and almost breathing, and then it was like a bathing suit on top of an entire bodysuit, and it was there was sweat going through the seams. Maggie at one point turned to me, she goes, "Why are you wet?" And then she realized that the trim that was wrapped around my arms was wet, sweat coming out of my collarbone and just going down my arms and my chest.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty intense.
That's pretty hardcore right there.
So I want to kind of transition to something Joe related, and this is going to tie into the finest work as well. You guys have been doing the Fem Trooper Fridays for quite a while,
Okay.
which I think are awesome online with the finest. And then we have pictures like this from the calendar that came out. How excited were you guys to see the club do the Female Trooper 3-pack? And do you think that you guys had any influence on that coming into production?
So a little birdie told me that the female officer and the Fem Troopers were influenced by the Fem Trooper Friday stuff that we do. So Sarah and I were the first ones. I think I did mine first, and then she did hers. And yeah, it's basically based on the finest Fem Trooper.
That's pretty cool right there.
So yeah, they looked at the all the what went into the costume of that, and then yeah, picked that up.
So
we were both screaming.
So are you guys going to actually then in turn do a variation of your costume to match the club's build going forward, or sort of this infinite loop of homage back and forth, or?
We could. I had not thought of it. We could probably do a top and then a bottom use, but we already do a Viper with the BDU bottoms, and
yeah,
there's like a whole female squad of us. I think we'll just probably keep it the same as we've always done it, because ours came first. No offense.
She's taking claim on that bad boy.
Nice.
Let's get to a couple of questions I wanted to ask you a couple months ago. How did you feel when the club came out and stated about the weapons policy for JoeCon? How did you feel? Did it affect you any? And did you feel like it affected anybody who it deterred from doing cosplay this year?
It didn't really deter any of the finest, because when you apply to the finest, you don't have to have a weapon. We allow people to join the finest without having to carry any of the prop weapons, knives, or rifles. The times we live in, there are crazy people out there, and if the location doesn't want you to carry, we're gonna have to abide by that. It only takes one person to ruin it for everybody, so it didn't affect the finest or any of the cosplayers anything, because you still look like the characters.
Without the
I
weapon.
think it's important that we all.
Now, I guess that you're right. The times we live, because take for example, a month ago, less than a month ago, I guess it was now, that Phoenix Comic-Con had that one guy come through and get past all those checkpoints with real live ammunition, guns, knives, ninja stars, and his plot was to kill Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger.
Yeah.
So I mean, that goes to show that it can happen. We've seen it happen.
I would. So in that case, I would have trained the con personnel to better search people.
Mm-hmm.
With all the tactical stuff that he was coming in with. Like, some props look real, but like it's all about training. Also, they're volunteers,
right?
Have an off-duty law enforcement official at the front door. Like, they'll know what you can and can't do. Train the people better, but it'll. The times we live in are very different than when I was growing up and going to a con.
Right.
So it's sad, but
yeah.
Now, I got the pleasure of spending not one, but getting to see you for 2 straight weeks at JoeCon. Then we went to PeteCon up in Cincinnati last weekend. You were, like I said, you were invited to that one. How did you? You went as Marissa Felborn, and how did you have a good turnout? What did you think of the con, first of all, there?
Very good turnout for a first-year con, especially a robot con. I don't go to robot cons often, but a first-year con, he had, I think it was like 100 pre-reg, and
Yep.
that's to me on for a first con. And then one day, he did great with the movie and the brewery. I would love to do that at any con where they have an outing. JoeCon does it, and that's one of the things that it like makes me want to go back every year, is that they have activities to do, and you all get to connect and learn about each other and become friends. So
Right.
I liked it.
The good thing about Pecan, I could say, was that majority of the people who were there were people that I would meet up with and hang out with at BotCon. A lot of those guys were there, and that was a real good outing, I thought, for that as well. And then the movie was nice. If you didn't see, or Fred, if you didn't hear, my buddy Primal Sabbath fell asleep, and at the beginning of the movie,
He was the lucky one after having seen that film.
well, let me tell you what. And then Jesse runs up there and takes a picture and posts it on Twitter, and that picture has been sent here, there, and everywhere of him sitting there, literally like dead to the world. It's really funny. I mean, I give him crap about it all the time, but he fell asleep. The movie theater was packed out. I mean, that was good. Having the little drinks down there and everything was really good to do. And then,
Sorry?
Huh?
What did you say?
No, I was talking about how we got to go to the tavern. We went to the tavern and met up there, and
Yep.
then the movie theater was good. It was just even the face paint, even me getting my face painted was hilarious. I had a good time doing that.
I totally did not expect you to do that.
Well, I was walking out of the dealer room to go take something to my room, and Pete was there talking to the lady, and she was asking him something, and all I heard him say was, "No, I can't, but he will." He pointed right at me. She looked at me. She looked at me and said, "Oh, good, he's bald. This will work out great." So I go upstairs, I come back, I sit in the chair, and she did what she did. And I actually ran with that till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's hilarious.
Yes,
I had a
you
good time.
did. I was.
Yeah,
You'd be proud.
You walked by, I think you were on your way to your room when we were downstairs, and a little boy came up to me, and his father was like, "Go ahead, ask him." And the kid asked me if it was a real tattoo.
Oh.
And then he wanted to get my picture and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. I had a good time with it. I mean, it was, if I go next year and she's there, I would actually spend the time in the chair and let her paint my whole head. I mean, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I would do it.
So I have a question. We've talked about PeteCon as a first-year convention, and there is another first-year convention that's had some news lately. And I was curious, does the Finest have any plans in any level to attend Hascon this year?
So individuals, members can attend if they would like. Obviously, they're grown people. But the Finest itself is not going to have a presence there. We come, and we've not been contacted to see if they would like us to attend.
Okay.
Well, that's too bad, actually.
I'm also not going.
Ah!
She's not going to the matter.
Yeah, I was curious if you guys had been looped in at all, because with Joe having kind of a small presence at Hascon, that would be a great way to get some exposure, is to have people with, top-notch costumes representing these characters, bringing it to life for the people that have kids there who don't necessarily know this property that we've all been obsessed with, since we were their age. So I was, okay.
You're showing our age, Fred. Be quiet.
Hey, it's like Lethal Weapon. I can't quote that line right now, but I'm getting too old for this shit. So
go ahead and tell us everything about the Finest, your new ventures y'all are doing, and tell people who don't know what the Finest is. Really what y'all do and not do. That all came out completely wrong. Yeah, Fred, we see your poster.
That's a calendar, man.
I can't see that far. I got bifocals on. Leave me alone. But definitely tell us what the Finest, what the Finest what their goal is to do. I mean, what it all boils down to.
Okay, so the Finest is a canon G.I. Joe costume club. We dress up as the figures or the movies. The rule is to be canon has to have been seen in the G.I. Joe universe 3 times. So whatever character, like there's 74 versions of Snake Eyes. The one that you're gonna do, you have to make a reference, apply, do it exactly like, say, if you're doing the movie Retaliation, you do exactly to look the part. And then we go to events like cons. Sometimes we just go on camping trips. We have an annual event at the Yorktown, USS Yorktown, that we do photo shoots with the museum out there. And then we do Finest House, which you have probably seen at JoeCon in one of the videos last year and this year. That's become a quite the web series that I did not expect it to become. And on the flip side, we do a lot of charity work. So we started a few years ago, the Girls of the Finest calendar, and each year we pick a new charity, except for this year. We started out with Wounded Warrior, and we had collected $9,700 the first year.
Wow.
Or yeah. And then after costs and for the tiers and postage, we donated a little over $3,500 for that. And then the second year was the USO, $4,600. And this year was Canines for Warriors, and it was almost $7,000. So our costs have been going down as we have been doing it. Obviously, we learn better money and donate more of the money to the charity. But the way we do the charities is we pick charities and we vet them to make sure that the majority of the money goes to the service members or the veterans. And so the charities that we pick, especially since we're a G.I. Joe costume club, are always going to be veteran or military-based charities. So this year we've picked Canines for Warriors again. We get to save pups and help veterans. So the Canines for Warriors actually takes canines from kill shelters and trains them, then partners them up with veterans, and they have those dogs for life. So
Very
it helps
nice.
them with PTSD and other injuries. It's a really good cause. So
How did you guys find the Canines for Warriors organization? Because I have to admit, last year was the first time that I had heard of it when I donated to the the fund drive. So
a couple months before we had chosen the charity, we usually make a list of charities. We do, like, obviously research. We had seen that Stephen Amell did the Pause for Stripes. We're looking at things with canines and things, charities that we can do for PTSD. So we kind of wanted like not a theme, but more of like not active service members, but veterans for this one. Actually came across them. They're stationed in their headquarters are in Florida, and we did all this research, and we found out that proceeds would go to the veterans, and it was small enough organization that there's not a lot of overhead like there is in like Wounded Warrior Project. So we contacted them. An officer, his wife does a golf tournament for them, or helped organize a golf tournament that donated money to them. And then we got in contact with them, and so with them for this year. So it'll be good. I'm really excited. And we got to see pups when we delivered the check. So Maggie and I drove down from DC this year. It was a really crazy drive. We went to the headquarters, donated the check, got to see the pups, and they actually have like a puppy washout. The ones that don't make it for whatever reason, it could be they have like a tick that they can't get rid of, or it's just something that's not working, that they can't like behaviorish or even like if they're shy or something and they can't get them to unlearn it, then they get put up for adoption. So either way, that dog gets to.
Very cool. And so how soon can we anticipate the 2018 calendar project going up and people being able to show support?
So we are currently pulling tiers together. A couple of interesting ones. It's also the 10-year anniversary of The Finest.
Wow.
Full of cool surprises for you guys. So we're trying to price those things out and get up, and it should be within this week, probably next week.
Awesome.
And it'll be up for 60 days again, and it'll be through Indie. Excited about it this year. I want to beat that $11,000 mark. Like I'm totally like pushing for it this year.
And where would someone want to go to donate and do the calendar and all the stuff you're going to do? Is there a website, or is it on Facebook, or how do y'all do it all?
Sorry, I didn't hear most of the question.
Oh, okay.
About the calendar.
Right. When you do all this, you get everything ready. Where's the best way for someone to find it, to purchase it and donate and all that? Is it, you have a website, or is it on Facebook, or what?
So, the Girls of the Finest actually has a Facebook page, and we'll be posting the link to the Indiegogo site on that when it launches. And we have like advertisement. You can even go to my page. I'll be advertising it. Or The Finest will have links all over the pages and on our website, thefinestcc.com.
And you guys have had a lot of really strong support, I've noticed, from pretty much most of the Joe sites I've seen in the past year have helped promote, each time that you've done the drive too. So it seems nice that you're getting that level.
It's amazing seeing the G.I.Joe. Sorry, what?
Oh, that's okay. We cut out there sunspots or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there seems to be a bad connection going on right now. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and so again, last year you had the Robert Atkins cover, which I thought was awesome for the calendar. Do people like that? Are you finding that people are coming forward to volunteer more to help support the projects?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, each year we get more and more, even like people not in the G.I. Joe community. We get other cosplayers donating. We even get cons asking us to come to collect money. We had an Eternal Con. We went up there and collected money, and yeah. So New Jersey Collectors Con likes us to go up there. Fran welcomes us, gives us a free table. We can auction things off or have pictures taken, and people just donate money. It's really awesome seeing the Joe community come together and give whatever they can for a good cause. And it kind of, I don't know, it brings us closer together. Like we're not just like some small niche little collectors community. Like we're making a difference. So I don't know. I get teary-eyed when I talk about this. You guys, I'm not supposed to be like teary-eyed.
We made her cry! Yay!
But again, you know what? It's an awesome way that you're melding your hobby with a chance to give back. And there's not a lot of opportunities for people to do that. So I think it's particularly great. It's something that I know I've looked forward to every year when you guys have launched these. So
thank you. Thank you very much. That's appreciated. I appreciate any little help. Like even if people can donate, as long as they share it out there. So
see, Mike, you could get a calendar.
Hey, buddy. Me and you in front of a fire truck with our shirts tied upside down.
Oh, no, I just meant get a calendar. I'm not taking a picture for crap.
I thought you said you want to take pictures together.
We actually have from.
Uh-oh, she cut out.
She froze up on me. She's robot facing it. Oh, there she is. She's moving.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. I was saying it's getting kind of funny because now collectors in our community are now going back to the first year and trying to collect the trading cards we have. And the first year obviously is so limited. Not many people were, it's not as big as it is now, like where we're getting people wanting the sets, the original Series 1 set. Fred, do you have it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, he don't have it. He probably got all this lined out before the show starts so he can show it off during the show.
No, you know what's funny is, so in our home office, I have the finest calendar up on the wall every year. And when the trading cards come, I'm not a trading card person. I like them. So I put them in the filing cabinet, which is right off to my left. So right before the show, I'm like, they're in that first folder. I need to pull those out tonight.
Well, you don't want your Series 1. There are several individuals give you their child for them.
Oh my.
You see, and it's one of those things where it's like, until I can get them in an album or something, they just kind of sit in there. But again, the things that as a Joe site admin, the things that I always like to look at, I like to look at diorama photography. I like to look at good cosplay. And to me, and custom figures. These are the things that, because I don't do any of that. This is the stuff that helps spark my imagination, and helps kind of re-engage a passion for this brand. Because otherwise it's like, oh, look, I bought Roadblock and there he is. And so it's cool to see these characters come to life, whether it's, in good photography or if it's in the efforts of people doing projects like this. And so, you know what? I think again, I'm happy to see that the calendar has gone on as long as it has and that it's growing. And so, for people who don't know how would someone who happens to watch this that goes, you know what? I want to be a part of that. How would they go about submitting to the Finest for membership, and what would they need to submit? You touched a little on it earlier, but I kind of want to put it out there.
Okay, so obviously you're going to need a costume. Because we're a canon group, it has to be canon, so it has to be seen 3 times in the G.I. Joe universe. And when you submit, you go to thefinestcc.com, and under membership, for members, there is a drop down and it says become a member. You need to be over the age of 18. And you have to give in a reference shot of the version or the comic book or action figure or sideshow collectible or movie. And then you do the front, a picture of your front, a picture of the back, and a picture of the side, if there's like detail along the sides that we'll need to see. So basically a 360. And then you submit it. Our membership liaison officer will contact you for the photos, and you submit those, and within 10 days, you're either in upgrading your costume to make it on the standards that we have, and then that's it. You're in.
Okay, so you just mentioned something that I think is particularly awesome. You, as an organization, you help people polish up their costumes.
Yes. So like the Trooper, the Viper, the Crimson Guard, the Stinger Driver, all of those have, like the Army Builders, basically, all of them have field manuals that you can there's PDFs on the website. You go to it, you click, you open it up, and it's like step by step. These are the berets. These are the flashes you need. This is the type of shirt you need. These are the type of pants you need. This is the vest. On the vest, you have this Cobra emblem. You've got these pouches. Like, it's intense. We're a little intense. Not as intense as the 501st, but
that's what I was fixing to say. The 501st down here, boy, they are really intense in what they do. They are super intense.
So what is the most surprising costume submission that you've had, in terms of, you're like, really? Someone's going to cosplay as Ice Cream Soldier? What's the one that you're just like, wow, I never thought I'd see this come to life?
So, okay, we didn't have a submission. This was already this was already a member, but together and decided at one of the shoots to do the most obscure. So we have Crankcase, we've got Thunder. Like, who picks these people? But yeah, we haven't had Refrigerator Perry. That one we'd need a really tall guy, but not any. I wanted to see a Raptor. The craziest one that was probably the Serpentor, because he actually had like not a moped, like a Segway that he converted to the Chariot. That was
wow,
the most insane thing that I've seen.
Okay, that's borderline
and
awesome.
Because I was like, I want. Yeah. So in addition to like costumes, now all the members are getting together, like the garrisons are getting together, and they're building sets. They have wax. Now people are doing the towers, like the Watchtower, the Jeeps, the Cobra Jeeps. You know, there's people wanting to do the Trouble Bubbles, do like half the pit. Like, it's getting intense. Like, you need a house or a farm or something.
Ha!
But I'm thinking of doing a competition internally to see. Hey, it's one way of getting them to do stuff.
Heck yeah!
Into doing this.
Yeah,
But
I'll just
the members. They're pretty. They love G.I.Joe. For charity work.
You know, I was thinking, you know, the one they should do would be the club's version of Iceberg. You know what I'm talking about, Fred?
The renewal figure?
Yeah, with the vintage head.
I'm waiting to see somebody do Big Lob, personally. Because Big Lob doesn't get the love. Like, well, he did this year, but...
He got love this year, big time love. So, you still there, Fred, or are you breaking up on me?
No, I hung up.
Okay,
anything you see is a figment of your deranged imagination.
It is deranged. It is that. So, Fred, do you have any more questions for her?
No, I think Joe has covered everything that I wanted to hear tonight, especially about how the Finest vets everyone, what the requirements are. Because I think, you know, honestly, and really quick, Joe, about if you're comfortable discussing this, how big is the Finest anymore? I mean, how many members or chapters, you know, have you grown to over the past few years?
So when I first started with the Finest, it was in 2010. Lenville King, who's Pit Viper Studios, he does most of our helmets and our armor. He was the founder of the Finest, and I think there was probably around 100 in 2010. I think we have just surpassed 300.
Nice.
And it's not only in the U.S. We have people in Indonesia. We have people in the UK and Ireland. We've got people in Canada, South America. Like, it's grown. It's insane. Like, I'm getting goosebumps. But mouth, and then people see it, and then they contact us. How do I get involved? And you're like, well, it takes 4 people to make a squad, 5 people to make a garrison. This year we did. So far, I think it's 2 squads and a garrison that formed. So
that's good.
Hopefully get the entire U.S. covered, and then form a couple garrisons in Canada. And then we've got the UK Ireland garrison that's formed. That's pretty cool.
That is.
Because they've got like the action force.
Nice.
Kind of cool.
Nice. If somebody builds a Robo Skull...
Have you now you go to JoeCon, do you actually collect the figures yourself, or do you even collect toys?
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you did toys or not. If it was just strictly the cosplay. I mean, I had no idea you were a toy collector like the rest of us.
So actually, some people don't know this, but I'm an action figure like whore.
Hello.
Yes, yes, folks, she went there.
Actually, so this is, I think, the last time I counted. I have 42 red ninjas.
Oh my
I
gosh.
ran the set.
So
Wow.
I was going to ask who the favorite figure was. I'm starting to think it's probably the Red Ninja.
Wow, that's something.
It is not. It's the FSS Jinx. That's
Okay.
one of my favorite figures. My favorite is the October Guard, by far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let that one go because I like that one too. But Tiger Force is the best set they ever did.
Oh, please. Okay, let's not start this argument.
I don't know what everyone has against Tiger Force, man. I just don't get it.
Have you seen them?
Yes, I have them displayed nicely.
They were clothed by Ray Charles, okay?
Whatever.
Whatever. It's a god-awful color scheme. I'm sorry.
I love my Tiger Force.
I've got weeks of this crap left.
I really the Iron Grenadiers. That's my next favorite. So
I like those. Now, the October Guard set, that was a real nice set. I wish I still had that set. I got parts of it. I haven't got the whole set. But and then, of course, the Iron Grenadiers, they're my favorite by far.
it's a quest.
Yeah, get that right. Well, that was all I had for you. I do appreciate you jumping on with us. Thanks for taking the time. And we wish y'all well this year for your endeavors and everything. And me and Fred will both be pledging for that calendar and everything else to go along with it this year.
This will be Mike's first pledge for it too.
Since I am like,
Mike!
well, let me tell you here. Let me give you a little history of me. When I first started going to cons, it was strictly BotCon for many years. Then they had JoeCon in Dallas in 2014. Now, I was a Joe fan, but I wasn't like a Joe fan. Now, it's kind of like I went to JoeCon in 2014,
Right.
and I really enjoyed it. Between JoeCon and BotCon, I would really say JoeCon because of how much more non-asshole people are versus BotCon. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of BotCon guys that I'm really good friends with, but man, Transformer fans, we are the worst collectors in the world. We are class A assholes. Period. That's just all it's to it.
Yeah.
But I went to 14. I loved the set. It was the Zombie Initiative set. I loved it. I liked the zombies. I thought it was a really good set. So I decided to go again in 15, which was Tiger Force. Fell in love with it. Get over it, Fred. It's okay. I've accepted. Just drink the Kool-Aid and hush. And then last year was Sky Patrol. It was okay. Not the greatest in the world, but I got it. And I honestly have to say, I feel like Battle Force 2000 is really kind of, in my collection, it's on par with, one of the top sets, in my opinion. Now, granted, everyone has their opinion about no removable helmet. They were ugly. They don't know the difference between a mock-up and the actual figure in hand. Yes, Blocker doesn't have no eyebrows. Get over the fact. It's just happened, okay?
I could have handled it if it had been Blaster. He blew him off.
Exactly. we were saying that he had bad chemo, so that's why he lost his eyebrows.
Oh.
Well, we were,
Oh, no.
I mean, now, I feel like the club gave us a good portion of, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I told you off air, Fred, I actually think about going back and getting more snowmobiles for the Battle Force guys. I mean, it's a good set. Granted, yeah, we had probably 8 too many bats, but I mean, they're not too awfully bad, like a citrus flavor.
As someone who just finally cracked open his non-attending stuff today, I got to say, the Tangerine bats are pretty darned awesome. They're way more fun than I ever thought they would be. And I was one of the ones that beforehand was like, look, we're getting 8 bats. Do we really need 8 bats? And now I'm like, how do I get more?
I'm actually, you'll believe this, I am actually troop building the officer one bat. I'm up to 5 or 6 of him now.
Uh-oh. That's not cheap.
No, actually, I've lucked out. What's his name? Zero Fall on his tanks. He sold me one for $29 shipped, which was a steal, I thought. But yeah, I really enjoyed this set. I think it's a good set. There was a lot of naysayers who were like, "Oh my God, that's awful. Why would you pick Battle Force 2000?"
Why wouldn't you pick Battle Force 2000? They are awesome. They had been on my survey every year that I have attended since 2005.
Are you serious?
Yes, every year.
Okay, well, you got them.
I'm like, it's my fault, people. It's my fault. Not really, but...
He's a portion of the fault.
So, well, Joe, I'm going to warn you. He's about to rant about Hascon, so if you have somewhere else to be, it's totally okay. Mike's been gearing up to this all day. So
ever since I read it, you're more welcome to stay on. If not, just go ahead and bow out. And we do appreciate you coming on. We really do. I know I enjoy hanging out with you at the little time at JoeCon, and then last week at a PCon. We had a good time and enjoyed you doing the video with me. And that video it was almost at 2,000 views. That's actually the most video I've had done on Facebook Live. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, when we started this little venture, it was very, very small, and it's grown a little bit each time, and it's getting better. And we are glad that you're a part of it. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Anytime you guys want to have me on, let me know.
We definitely will.
Definitely.
You guys are my first time doing YouTube Live, so.
Always the first time for everything. And trust me, when we're live, we're never right. We usually screw it up. Well, I screw it up usually. When I go to screen share, Fred will definitely tell you I will screw it up. Yeah, stop pointing, Fred. Stop it. Just stop it.
I wear a shirt for you. I get to be snarky. That's
did I tell you what happened, Joe, on that? Where I was in the hallway. If you get Brian Savage, I'll wear Tiger Force for 5 straight weeks. And Savage came on there enough time just to tell him you lost that bet.
Hey, I went to the club store the next day and bought this. So,
yep.
I never buy the con shirts except for Night Force because it glowed in the dark, and that was amazing.
Yes.
And I love that beanie. I've had people ask me to buy that Night Force beanie off me. I'm like, nope, hats are my thing.
Yeah, that was probably, of all the recent convention sets, I gotta say that's probably my favorite, especially that I've attended. October Guard comes real close to edging it out. I don't know what it is, but we get the crazy Latal figure who is just so day glow. He's awesome. Yep. You got Night Force Joes, which were great. The Frag Vipers were good. We got Crimson Asp and Saw Vipers. I mean, and Cobra Immortal, who just looks like a complete badass in all white and a silver mask. There's no, to me, that's a perfect set. Not one wasted figure in there.
Yep. No. Especially Crimson Asp. She's amazing.
Yeah, I wonder why you would think that. I certain covers of convention magazines, perhaps.
Yeah.
Lime green here was outstanding. Well, I will let you guys go because I do have to make dinner because I have not eaten. So
all right, go eat. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it, and we will be promoting the heck out of both at JBL and on the show the finest calendar this year. So,
and thank you guys for the support. Thank you for having me on. And if you guys want any of the girls, the finest or the finest members to come on, let me know and we'll arrange it for you guys.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night. All right, Mike.
All right. Let's don't screw this up.
Time.
Well, I want to do something different first. We're going to go ahead and. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Oh, sweet God! I want that figure desperately.
Okay, great. I got it right. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Actually, I need. You know what? I already screwed up.
He's starting to screw up. Kids, while Mike's playing with his screen share, what we're looking at is a mock-up for what could have been the only human Springer figure. That was, if you remember, the club did a shared exclusive between Transformers and Joe clubs of figures from Only Human. It started off way back with Cobra Command with Old Snake and the bats and the Soundwave bats, and then it went into the single carded Rodimus and RC figures as Synthoids. But if anyone remembers, there were 2 other Synthoids bodies that had Autobots downloaded into them. Springer being the first, and Ultra Magnus being the second. And as much as I was excited when Mike was posting pictures from Pete's Robot Con to see Springer, I want this Magnus so desperately, it's ridiculous. And I think the use of those missile launchers turned up to imitate his stacks is inspired. So whoever built these, yes, we need to make this happen, because damn, I want to complete the figures from that episode. However, there was also a third figure that many of us didn't see coming.
Are you seeing the figures?
Yeah, I've got Magnus up right now. Okay. And if he shares one more, this one, they did Victor Drath. They took the Footloose head, and I think we figured out that was the DTC Monkey Wrench jacket. I believe that's what we figured. And they made Victor Drath. And Victor Drath was the guy that hired Old Snake to nerf the Autobots and got his Synthoid technology. So it's kind of, he was a surprise inclusion. Yes, this needs to happen. I don't care how this needs to happen. I need to own these 3 figures very, very desperately. So,
yeah, this here was kind of a surprise when I was there. When I was there and I started seeing them, I was really surprised that there was a figure that we weren't, that just, was never even mentioned of being on the table at all whatsoever.
And okay, Mike, you were at Pete's Robot Con. Was this one that was under consideration by the club, or was this more, hey, a proof of concept, here's what it could be?
No, this was this was going to happen from the club. This is what their plans were. So the club, to my understanding, had intentions on doing this all together. And like we've said, about the BotCon set that would have been, was raffled off. They did have a shelf. This shared a shelf. You can actually see the robot there in the back right. That was actually a concept part or figure that they had planned on doing, but it didn't make it. But they showed some Joe presents on. They even had unproduction samples of a RC, what RC looked like before they made changes to it.
Okay.
So I mean,
So you're more plugged into the Transformers community than I am, with a name like Autobot City Toys. What has been the reaction to these pictures on the Transformers side of things? Because as a Joe fan, heck yes, these are Joe scale, Joe parts. The closest thing that I ever got to a Joe Transformers crossover as a kid. But what are the bot fans saying about these?
A lot of the guys were really, people who were there that I know of. They were, a lot. The guy who won the actual Toys, he bought 72 additional tickets at $5 a pop.
Wow.
The guy behind him bought 80 at $5 a pop.
Wow.
So there were some hardcore people really wanting this set. Once you start going on the forums, which is TFW 2005, there's people on there who will, that are like, oh yeah, wish we could have gotten that. And then you got the haters who are like, oh, you don't know if that would have been what it was going to be. Well, they were pretty sure to a degree that there might have been some tweaks made, but not everything's set in stone, but there would have been some tweaks, some colors, or move this figure to this, this 2-pack or 3-pack, or this one be the freebie and this one go in the box set or something like that.
Well, and again, things, they always say no plan successfully survives contact with the enemy. No mock-up is going to probably survive approval from Hasbro 100% simply because at that point in time, Hasbro, you know, it used to be Hasbro would have plans for certain parts. Hasbro would have plans for certain characters. And so they were off the table for use from the club. Now with Joe being on indefinite hiatus until the next iteration of the brand and the next movie, you know, maybe things would have been more open. I don't know. I just know that especially Victor Drath surprised me as an inclusion. And Springer, I'm a Springer fan because, you know, voiced by Neil Ross, so we get a little shipwreck in there. But Magnus was the one that just absolutely, because I wouldn't have pictured the stacks. And, you know, he looked like Ultra Magnus. If you take those off, you put that on and you're like, oh my God, that is Magnus in human form.
Right, exactly.
And I have a feeling a lot of people out there are going to be trying to duplicate this parts build since it's probably at this point, would you say it's probably very unlikely that these will ever see production at this point?
Well, when Pete came on Cybercast, when he announced that he was no longer at the club, and we did ask questions about this, he always said, never say never. So it could possibly get done, but maybe not listed as what we want it listed as far as, you know, Transformers Ultra Magnus. You know?
I don't care what the stand says. I can print a label, and I'm an opener, so yes, it's nice to have them carded, but I'll take it off of that. I really just want that figure on my shelf.
Right.
You know, I was one of those people that ran out and got the Target movie set that came out recently, you know, with the re-releases of a lot of the characters to look a little bit more movie deco accurate. And one of the reasons I bought it was that big Ultra Magnus, even though he's got that stupid little Minimus Ambus character that sits in his chest, cough character assassination cough. Look, you know, my better half and I, she did not watch these shows growing up. She's a couple of years younger than me. And so we recently completed a viewing of the entire G1 cartoon series in a row. We would watch them two or three every Saturday or every Sunday morning for weeks to get through it. And, you know, parts of G1 Transformers are hard to take. They really are.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They are.
And then you get past the movie. And suddenly you've got this new cast of characters, and her interest was piqued. And she is a raging Cobra Commander fan. She loves Chris Latta's Cobra Commander. I didn't warn her about this episode. Didn't only Human comes up. She's like, okay. And then they go to talk to this guy, Old Snake, and she goes, Old Snake, that sounds like a G.I. Joe name. And I'm like, hey. and then he speaks, and she goes, stop it. Stop the DVD. Stop the DVD. And I get one of these. Is that who I think it is? And I'm like, just got to watch the episode. And, you know, all the way through. And especially, I think what got me was the characters that she identified with in the post-movie era were the ones that I identified with. So Springer and Magnus and, you know, RC and Cup. And so I showed her these pictures, and she's like, oh, are you going to order those? And I'm like, as of now, they're not hitting the light of day. And because she was impressed with the human figures of the others. So Club, I know you probably don't watch this show, but if you do, Hasbro, if you're ever tuning in, please find a way to make these happen. I'm trying to look right at the camera. Please find a way to make these happen, because I think you will be surprised at the reaction.
Yeah, they would be. They really would be. So, but that's what was at Pete's Robot Convention. I had a good time. I got to see these figures, and you know, up front and close and personal, real nice. Now we're going to move on to our next segment of the show, which will probably last us till the end. If y'all did not know,
it's Mike's rant.
Hascon has recently come up, and they have posted a few things here about extra, you know, things going on at their show. And you don't clean your glasses off. Yeah, those prices are right. That's $200. If we didn't already know, we're going to have a little refreshing history here on Hascon's general admission package. Single day, $60, 3-day ticket, $165, not too bad. But if you got a 3-year-old, you can see what the prices are. But if you got a 2-year-old or younger, there's the prices, yada, yada, yada. Then we get to the Discover the VIP tickets. Oh, yeah, you're a super fan? Yeah, you got to drop $600. You know, there's so many different things. There's super fan, the youth. Let's see how much is the youth for. I don't even know what this youth. $200. So if you want to take your kid, your cost $800. Super fan. Then there's Magic the Gathering, another $600. D&D, another $600. Good God, they are really stuck on the $600. Let's see here. See all included features. Let's see all the included features. Panel VIP, which means golden ticket seating is what I want to say. Or no, let's see. Well, 10 guest panels arrive 40 minutes prior to session and only available. So if you're VIP number 51, you are screwed. You are, period. If you're 50 and your kid's 51, hey, sorry, son, you got to wait outside while dad goes inside, basically, is what it amounts to.
Well, now I'm reading that's VIP early lineup when attending panels. So I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but yeah, it does seem weird that it's like with JoeCon, they know how many golden tickets they sell. And look, the golden ticket is a whole nother can of worms for me. But the fact is that they set aside those rows of seats. They know that pretty much, I think the club does, that if everybody who bought a golden ticket wants to sit up there, they can. Right. It seems like with this, if they're selling the 50 seating doesn't seem to jive with the number of VIPs they're selling. I mean, I don't know if, and I haven't been following Hascon simply because it's the same weekend as my mother's 88th birthday. So there's no way I can go.
What, Mom didn't want to go to Hascon?
Well, not without years of guilt afterwards. So, hi, Mom. But you know, I get that Hasbro's trying something new, and I applaud them for trying it. And I think that the package for the Joe early dinner, which you had up earlier. There's some cool stuff in there. I mean, I wouldn't lie. If I had the funds, I would probably consider, just because I want animation cells, because, you know, right, even though they're deek,
right,
I would still do it. But it's the fact that I think Hasbro with this is really overpricing a lot of this, because I just don't look. I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times in my years of being a blogger and all this, and I'll own up to it when I am. I don't know if I see the demand for this. It's for one thing, it's in Rhode Island, and nothing against Rhode Island, but when you're coastal, it's always limiting the number of people that'll come because you're not in a central location. It's a very disparate group of events. You know, Magic. I'm a gamer. So I've played Pathfinder and D&D and all of that, and I've gone to Gen Con, which is the largest game convention in the country. It's in Indianapolis every year. This year it's targeted to hit I think 75,000. Like, they're actually hitting the limit of people who can attend based on fire codes. People who go to gaming conventions, I don't know if they're going to want to be in the same room as people with, as toy collectors. I could be wrong. This could be an amazing event, and this could really be something awesome. I don't know if I see it happening this year. So that's kind of my rant.
Yeah, when I read through this here, they added something for Transformers not recently, but it was like they added a VIP lounge, especially for Transformer fans. They mentioned here, but apparently they mentioned one strictly for Transformers. So it's kind of like they heard what people were complaining. They even changed the autograph session thing to where you can't, you don't have to purchase something at Hascon. You can now purchase something. Yeah, because first it was you had to purchase from them, and that was it. Now they've changed it completely, and it can be anything. One item, it can't be a knockoff. Their exact word was knockoff.
Well, but I'm going to give Hasbro credit for that. Again, I haven't been following this as much simply because there's no way I can attend this year. I will give them props for listening to their to their potential attendees. It's not a lot of organizations would do that. If you've ever gone to a creation convention or one of those, they used to do the Stargate conventions, and they would do like the Star Trek events, and that they're pretty rigid. And the fact that Hascon is playing around and they're relaxing some of this, that's kind of cool. I won't lie. Again, at JoeCon, I think and you were there, Mike, the reaction when Daryl had to talk a little bit about Hascon.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Daryl is an awesome guy, and Daryl was handed a pretty... Daryl knew what he was walking into that night, and he still went because he's a Joe fan at heart. But the fact there's a lot of animosity directed toward Hascon because it is seen as a replacement for JoeCon at this point. I'm going to be very curious to see how this all pans out. You have such a disparate group of interest and fans coming to this. Magic the Gathering is still huge. I mean, that popped on the radar when I was in college. And, 10,000 years ago. But the fact that they are debuting a Magic series at Hascon, and that's your first chance to get it, they're going to probably pull well from like New York and the East Coast for that.
Right.
From what I understand, though, and I mentioned Gen Con earlier, Hasbro's properties, their Wizards properties, are going to have a diminished presence at Gen Con, which is in early August as a result of doing the Hascon. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm curious to see if they're going to have as big a presence at San Diego Comic-Con this year. Because are they trying to eventually pull the most things for Hascon? And something that you touched on earlier, Mike's got up here right now. You see on the screen, Transformers Hall of Fame dinner, My Little Pony Hall of Fame dinner, and G.I.Joe Legends dinner. They're all simultaneous.
Yeah, you can't pick all three if you're a fan of all three. Granted, I'll be kind of curious why Joe and Transformers are into My Little Pony, but that's neither here or there. But it's you got to choose one or the other.
And you just had scroll up just a touch. You had two events on your screen right there. I'm sorry, the other direction. Go down the page a little. I'm sorry. Right there. If I were going to this and I had my money, there are two things that I don't know if I could choose between, because as much as I would love to go sit at a G.I. Joe Legends dinner, it's Stan Lee. They brought Stan Lee into this, and thankfully his is at a different time, but if they were at the same time,
oh yeah, it'd be hard to decide.
That's a tough call, because here's a living legend. But the G.I. Joe package, I mean, I'm really curious to see what this A Real American Hero lithograph set is. I'm betting that a lot of the art that was hanging at Hasbro from the package art, the original painted art, I bet they're going to do lithos of that. This is something that Joe fans have been wanting for years, because back in the day, G.I. Joe had killer package art. I mean, we got original painted pieces. And if you ever go over to 3D Joe's, where Carson's doing the reconstructions every year, and the collecting the art of G.I. Joe books, I mean, we as a fandom were blessed with some of the best package art ever. And if that's what that lithograph set includes, oh man, that's going to be a pretty sweet set.
You mentioned like a lot of things that were donated, probably about, I'm not gonna lie to you, probably 80% of the items for the auction this year were donated by Hasbro and Darren DePriest.
Yeah.
So and he had said how they had gone and cleaned house up, and that's where they got the idea of doing the missile playset for San Diego this year.
Yes.
So they pretty much are saying there's no telling what they found, what they might be giving away. So granted, I have to admit, you know, the Legends dinner is a pretty cool thing. It's, you know, and they're celebrating 35 years of the launch of a Real American Hero, you know, and they talk about, you know, a sit down dinner, meet and mingle with Legends, but then of course they'll announce soon. I mean, granted, you know, you said, Fred, I haven't tried to even run through it yet, but you said this ticket's already sold out.
When I looked earlier, I could have sworn they were sold out. Now that because they weren't showing up as active. Now I could be wrong. You know, I didn't really spend a lot of time on looking there. Again, I'm not able to go, so
right.
You know, I'm not going to frustrate the crap out of myself. But when I looked at the $600 package, I could have sworn that it was not listed anymore because it's, you know, it's fairly limited. And you know, one of the things too is that they talked about on here was, you know, if you're a Joe person and you buy the deluxe package, you end up getting you'll get the Comic-Con set, but you'll get 2 extra of each of the troops. So you'll get 2 of the officers and 2 of the troopers. And I mean, that's not bad considering all the other stuff you're getting, because you're going to get like Deke animation cells. I know, Deke, but it's not Sunbow, kids. But, you know, but at the same time, I think if you're trying to appeal to a fan base that is used to getting a 15-figure box set at a convention where they're getting, you know, a lot more figures, it's just a shift. It is a shift from what we as Joe fans have become accustomed to since FunPub has been doing the convention, and especially since 2002 when they made an effort to include the 1/18th guys more in the convention. Because, you know, it's hard to believe now, but I can still remember going to Joe Cons like 2005, 2006, and the 3 3/4 guys were still in the minority at the convention. Minneapolis, there was I remember we were sitting in the panel, and it was the year that it was maybe 2006, I think we saw it. But in 2005, this one guy got up and went on a rant about how Hasbro was forsaking the 12-inch collectors, and you 1/18th guys, you need to be careful because it's your turn soon. You're going to get left behind. So, you know, we have been used to a certain convention expectation with FunPub. Right. And it's hard to get past that for a lot of people. I mean, FunPub has been doing 1/18 stuff for 15 years now.
Right, exactly. You know, when we go through these prices, you know, we already said they're overpriced, and I think the $200 ticket probably just a little bit more, in my opinion. I mean, I could see $100. I could totally see that, but I mean, granted, we don't know what all it's going to include. You know, just like, you know, some people pointed out how the Transformers Hall of Fame dinner, that was included in your package with the Transformers Collectors Club when you went to BotCon. Yeah. So when you bought a $400 package, you got the box set of toys, you got everything else you wanted, and you got the dinner. That was the dinner and the awards. Yeah. You got to see these people with that. You got the free autographs. Where, you know, there's just a lot of, I think there's a lot of, you know, cherry picking on money in this. I mean, in my opinion, I just think, if it's a success, I will be surprised.
Because $200 now, that just is the dinner, correct? Yeah, this is an add-on. Yeah. To the see that. Look, and maybe it's because I live in Illinois and it's a state that's going bankrupt right now. But, you know, one of the complaints about JoeCon has been in the past that FunPub is catering more and more to the high-end collector, and they're not trying to appeal, and, you know, to the average Joe, pun intended, and not trying to make things as accessible as they could be for the, you know, as many fans as possible. I see this as being even more so. I mean, granted, look, you know, the Legends dinner again. So you got Daryl DePriest, you got Dan Klingensmith, who is doing the creating 3.75-inch Joe books, where he's getting a lot of the older, the concept art and things, and he's putting it together. And you're supposed to have designers and that there, but again, it's just I think it would be easier to drop 200 on something if it was like, okay, so here's your Joe Legends dinner, and here's a list of who's going to be there, and you're guaranteed to have, be able to eat sushi with Larry Hama, and split an ice cream sundae with Daryl DePriest, and you're able to have this list of Ron Rudat's going to be there, and a lot of these guys, and so it's just kind of up in the air right now.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. And when you look, like, I'll scroll down here to My Little Pony, the movie sneak peek, and the last night movie event, which is basically they're watching the DVD extras, the movie, special bonus footage. $200 to sit there and watch a movie that you could pay $20 at Walmart on Blu-ray for.
Well, and honestly, if you spend $20 on the last night, you're overpaying.
Wait till you can get it for the over at Game Exchange for like $12.95, and even then, that's a stretch of paying that kind of money for it.
Wait till Black Friday, and it's a $4 Blu-ray at Walmart, kids. The gross for this film has not been inspiring confidence.
No, it has not.
And
go
ahead.
Like right here, join the last night movie event. Join celebrities and producers, including Brian and Steven from Transformers: The Last Night, celebrate the DVD release and the View special bonus footage. Enjoy light refreshments and a special video message from surprising celebrities, which are probably the stand-in doubles. Plus, participate in the raffle for special prizes, including a signed poster by Marky Mark, Transformer merchandise, hint, probably the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive they're not going to be able to give away, and more. Each attendee will receive a special pre-signed celebrity autograph, which is probably the people we don't care about. Additional special guests to be announced. I'm sorry, $200 price tag for something like that is really.
Again, I think if you knew who the guests were going to be, but the problem with the Transformers movie is that you've got but you've got Mark Wahlberg, and then you've got besides Mark, Josh Duhamel, maybe. Frank Welker and Peter Cullen, are going to be there.
Yep.
And you could have seen them at BotCon. There's not a lot of oomph in this for me. It's not a lot of just really getting to sit down and be like, you know what, hey, I got to have dinner with Megan Fox, or and punch Shia LaBeouf in the face.
I'd pay $200 for that. Shoot, I'd pay $500 to punch that little burst in the face.
But I don't know. I just feel like, I think that, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I really feel like with this, Hasbro has overestimated the value of some of this. And again, I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I kind of want to be wrong because I don't want to see Hasbro's things fail. I really don't, because if one succeeds, they all succeed. And there was, I think it was actually Pete that had posted this on Facebook, and he pointed out, so Transformers: The Last Night's in theaters right now. It's not doing the money that they thought it would. It was a full $100 million lower than Dark of the Moon for its opening weekend. It didn't even open at 70 million. It's not doing well in China. It's fallen off very quickly. And this is a franchise that has broken records over there. And Pete had made the comment, this could be the thing that causes Hasbro to rethink some of their cinematic universe plans and their shared universe, because this movie was supposed to springboard an 80s Bumblebee sequel. And if you've seen The Last Night, it ends on this, even though, Michael Bay, this is my last movie, I'm not doing any more. The movie ends on a bloody cliffhanger for the next film. It's kind of like X-Men Days of Future Past, which teased Apocalypse. Yep. And we got a shitty Apocalypse movie. But I don't know if this one doesn't bring in money like the others, then what chance does a G.I. Joe reboot have for a studio to greenlight, considering that they're banking it on, hey, we've done so much money with our Transformers. Now, part of that is the fact that, you know, again, Transformers had a plot that was completely incomprehensible. And quite honestly, the writers just reached into a hat, said, huh, Quintesson. Kind of like that name. Oh, let's make it Quintessa. Unicron. I don't care what the hell he is. We're going to shove that inside planet Earth.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, kids.
I swear to God, the only research they did was watch Transformers Prime. So yeah, that was my long-winded, meandering rant about all of this. But
here it was. I was supposed to rant. You're the one ranting more than I am.
Yeah, it's the Tiger Force shirt, dude. It just does.
There you go, buddy. So I mean, you know, we're pretty much on the same. Hascon, you're still overpriced. You know, I'm not going to spend that kind of money until I see at least one. See, for starters, see if you even make it past 1 year, and two, see what your prices drop to a second year if you make it past the first year. I just don't see it happening.
I'm going to put an invitation out there to anybody that's made it this far now that Joe's gone, because we know that's why people were watching tonight.
Yeah, because remember the one guy said he's watching her talk about paint dry. Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, anybody that makes it this far into the video, what do you think of Hascon and its chances at success? I mean, are we being too hard on it? You know, we're going to post, this is on YouTube, so there's going to be a comment section. We're going to have it up on Facebook. There's a comment section, even on JBL's Facebook page or any of G.I. Joe 118th and discussion, any of the groups that you see this. What do you think of Hascon? And be honest, you know. Let us know what you think of this, you know. And I know, yes, it's going to be tempered by the whole, well, Hascon killed Fun Pub, you know, and killed JoeCon. That's part of it. But also, just, you know, does this even, is Hasbro overreaching here? Do they think their stuff is worth more than it is at this point? I don't know.
I kind of think they do, but
real quick too, because I know we've been kind of ranting here. I want to end on a positive note tonight. So Mike went to JoeCon. I did not. Mike did killer coverage of JoeCon this year. And I just want to say, I want to thank Mike for all the help, for what he did with all the Facebook Lives and everything down there, and for hooking a dude up who has to wear these shirts for a while with a few items. Okay, so you're home from JoeCon. The glow is faded. The toys are unpacked. How do you think Fun Pub did this year with the souvenirs and with the set? What was it? Was it what you hoped? Was it better than you hoped? Or you kind of like, I think I know where you're going to go with this, but I'm just curious from boots on the ground.
Well, to be honest, I mean, going to the Fun Pub show was going to happen regardless because I support Brian and the club 100%. I'll go to their shows until they are gone, period. And that's just me in general. If you don't like me because of that, you want to unsubscribe because of that, then feel free to.
Where's the button?
Stop for it. But I mean, they do a good job. I mean, granted, we do not agree with them. We do not like some of their choices. This is America. You're a consumer. You have that right to complain. I'm a consumer, and I speak with my wallet every time, and I purchase everything they put out. To a certain degree, there are some items I will not buy. As far as this set went, I mean, granted, me and you had actually talked about the rumor mill. You know, we pretty much knew a while back we were getting a Conquest. We knew we were getting the Law. That was already. I knew for a fact when I heard the rumor of the Law, and then I got an email about something else. That pretty much confirmed it for me that was true. I welcomed the Law because I never had one. It's a cool thing. Granted, the figure don't fit in it unless he's doing a little kickback in there, you know. But I mean, the Conquest, I never had a Conquest. I got a Conquest now. Granted, it's called something else, whatever you want to call it. It's a Conquest to me. I enjoy it. I think it's a real good vehicle. At first, I was real hesitant about the snowmobiles and the gliders for the bats until I actually got them home and opened them up and put the Battle Force figures and the snowmobiles were pretty cool. I think it works. Granted, it's it's not the vehicle where, you know, they do, you know, multiple things or whatever. But I mean, it was a pretty good, you know, a good thing to put out there, I thought. The Bat gliders, I think, was really cool. I think those are pretty. They're better than the jump packs we got last year. That's for damn sure.
They're a much better value, and I got to say the colors on them. I haven't ordered them yet because they're still in the club store. I'm probably going to pick up a set of them. The colors on them are killer.
Yeah, the colors worked perfect with the bats. Just, I mean, plumb perfect. Granted, you know, we got a lot of bats. Me and you both agree earlier, they come out pretty solid. They were pretty decent looking bats. Granted, I'm picking up more on I'm trying to troop build on the leader bat. I think the red's pretty cool. The Battle Force figures turned out pretty good. I agree with you. I don't understand the reasoning behind the 2-pack's name. That made no real sense to me. So I mean, both those figures were surprisingly nice.
Plus, we got a hint at hardball out of it.
Yes, and I messed up because, you know, we talked about that where I told you Big Lob's weapon was the same. It looks the same, but it's a smaller version is what it was.
Oh, yeah, because hardball's launcher is massive.
Right, so you're right. We probably will get a hardball. You know, the figures were great. The only downfall was Blocker not having no eyebrows. I mean, granted, it wasn't John who did it, but I forget the guy's name. I think his name was Justin. I'm so sorry if I forgot your name. I'm sure John will remind me about it. I took it to John. He had him customize some eyebrows on for me because I didn't want to leave with no eyebrows in my Blocker. The 3-pack was nice. The officer that came with was it the VTOL? Is that correct?
Yeah, the Sky Serpent.
Right, and I never had these vehicles, you know, at all. So I mean, because like I said, I collected more Transformers. I recently got into G.I. Joes, but I haven't gone, you know, crazy into G.I. Joes. Now, if I had drove my car this year, and when I walked in on there Sunday morning and I saw that sale Chris Neal was having, I would have loaded my car up because he was running 30% off on all modern figures.
Wow.
Box sets, FSS figures, I mean, all movie box. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff that was already crazy low. Then you take another 30% off on it. It was crazy on the prices, man. It was a good deal. I would honestly, and this is coming from me, and I know how you feel about it, but I rank this set in my collection right up there with Tiger Force set.
Of course.
I mean, Tiger Force is top for me, period. I mean, I know you don't agree with it. I love Tiger Force. I think that's just me. This Battle Force, I was not huge. I had to go back and read the story to understand Battle Force.
Oh.
So once I read it and understood everything and then read this comic, which was greatly written, great comic art, great cover, great story. If you do not pick up the set, you're really kind of messing up on this. So I mean, I know my history on Battle Force 2000. I knew to a degree what it was. Yeah. Now I know everything on Battle Force 2000, and I really feel like this is up there with that set. My opinion is with my Tiger Force set. So
I gotta say, considering that, because I've been going through and screen capping from the comics for the reviews that I'll eventually get to at JBL. You know, Battle Force 2000, they appeared in, you know, was it 68? Yes. When they were doing their debut. And then Benzene happened. And I still, to this day, reading that bit where they go through the oil field, Cobra blows the oil field, and Dodger, who's in the lead, is like, all right, DJ, radio in, everybody, you know, and nobody's answering. And he turns around, and even DJ is dead, who's behind him. That is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the original comic series, because he's like, I'm all that's left of Battle Force 2000. Yep. Talk about survivor's guilt. And, you know, I don't know if you ever saw, I think it was it Blackthorn Comics? It was before Devil's Due relaunched the comic property in 2001. there's like 2 pages or so of art for what Larry had intended to do as a relaunch G.I. Joe title. It was going to be a continuation of Marvel. He had Dodger on the team. And I was floored by that because, man, talk about story potential. What the stuff that Larry could do with Dodger, having been the sole survivor of his team. And, you know, again, when we saw the mock-ups, and you and I have talked about this, the mock-ups this year, they were not the greatest. They're Photoshop mock-ups.
They're horrible, period. That's all to it.
The only figure that lives up to the awfulness of the mock-ups that we saw was Avalanche. He's the weakest member of that set. But not even Knockdown. I'm going to go on record and say, you know what? Us messing around with Knockdown, shooting pictures before we did the show tonight. Knockdown's badass. He's a stubby little dude. But
Yeah.
And I do hate the 25th anniversary arms where they only go to a certain point. You can't really get a good two-handed grip with them. And, yes, I would always want more wrist articulation, but I got to say, in its penultimate year, Fun Pub stepped up to the plate and surprised us all with a pretty damn solid set.
Yeah, good set this year. Even everything they got coming for as far as the 12-inch set. I don't know if we touched on this at the live show at JoeCon, but I mean, the as seen on TV figures they'll have.
Oh.
That there, I told Savage, I'm like, that's beautiful. I mean, I'm already a member for that as well. So I plan on getting those as well as the 3 they'll have for all the branches of the service. That's they're really trying to give us, because if you don't know already and you're still watching us, Hasbro has no intentions whatsoever in putting out any G.I. Joe product until the next reincarnation of the movie, period. And that'll be movie line toys. So no more 50th toy lines, no more redos of this or vehicles this. It's over with, kids. The one thing you're going to get is a kit bash, or you're going to have to, swallow your pride and go through the club or secondary market, which you all know you'll pay out the rear end on that.
And it's, as Mike is saying, from what it sounds like at JoeCon, 2018 is it for Fun Pub. So they are going to do 2 more FSSs. We get another convention set. We get the Heart Wrencher and the Dreadnought 4-wheel drive vehicle pack. And then we're going to get a 3-pack of the Night Stalker of the black-clad female troopers. And that's it. So, we're looking at...
get some worms, though. We better get some worms.
I have a feeling that won't... I think I could see the club easily doing that.
I hope they do.
Even though... you just want Rocketeer troops.
I do. I want a Rocketeer troop, man.
You do. But, look... I've been hard on the club in the past, and but I've also sung their praises when it's due, and they've done some good work for without the there's an expression that some people have been throwing around, which is something is better than nothing. Now I still don't agree with that. I don't want just crap slung our way, but at the same time, I think the club has really done some surprisingly good pieces. I'm going to put the FSS Raptor up as one of the best figures they've ever done. I'm going to say it's one of the best figures of the last, probably, I don't know, how far do we go back with the 50th, So the last 3-4 years, 5 years. I got to say,
go ahead.
It just shows that, sure, there's Gaucho, who is nothing more than a bastardized repaint of this awesome figure that everyone should own. But for every Gaucho there or Desert Glider Grunt, there's a Raptor, there's a Psych Out, there's, for God's sakes, we're getting Crystal Ball.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
So, like I said, I think the club did solid this year. Everything they got coming out is looking really good. So we're hoping to hopefully find out soon where they're going to have it at. I know there's a lot of speculation on the unofficial JoeCon page I run on Facebook. If y'all do not know, in 2013, I found out the location of the 2014 BotCon and leaked that out before the club actually announced it. So I've been asked by a few people to check this location, because it's very simple to find out these locations. It really is. You'd be surprised on how easy it is to call and just ask a couple of questions and you know the answer to it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we know something soon. So definitely keep an eye out. We'll definitely talk about it once it is announced. And I'll be posting it on the unofficial page and then on the podcast page. And I'm sure Fred will post it on Joe Battlelines pages as well. Another quick thing I want to talk about, just real quick thing. We talked about this for a brief minute before we went on the air. We are actually going to, or I'm going to start getting it designed. We're going to do, and I'm not ordering a whole bunch of them, so I don't know what the price will be yet, but I'm going to order some shirts for the show. Basically, they'll be similar to what I had done here for JoeCon, just to have, I don't know if y'all can see that very well or not. But for y'all who don't know, I got a couple of shirts made just to have a presence for people knowing who I was. And surprisingly, I had a lot of people come up to me without the shirt on and knew who I was. And I thank all y'all who...
He was topless at that point, kids.
Yeah, buddy. And I had a beer bottle in the hand. Yeah, buddy, you know it. But anyways, we're going to have the kind of like what we had here on the back. And we're going to have the front. There'll be royal blue Cobra colors of the blue shirt with a red logo, which is the other shirt I have. And it'll say just another G.I. Joe show on the back. And then we'll also have the Facebook and YouTube logos on the shirt somewhere along the lines. And, we'll have those. And we're actually going to have 2 3/4 inch buttons made. And we'll be selling those as well, kind of like a little package combo where you can get the shirt and a button. Not sure the cost yet, but we're going to keep it like extremely low to where it's really affordable. We're not going to go bonkers. So that'll be the Cobra shirt. Will be Cobra blue, and then we'll go with probably a dark hunter green with the G.I. Joe logo on the front for you G.I. Joe fans. And we might even take some, pre-orders on sub-team logos. I know me personally, I'll do Tiger Force, and I know Fred can't stand that. I might even do, honestly, I might even do some Battle Force 2000 logos. I mean, something new, something hip, something we don't see in the stores at Walmart or Hot Topic or anything of that nature.
Well, our buddy JD will want an Eco Warriors.
That's right.
He's the only guy I know with an Eco Warriors tat. It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
we'll definitely, and then definitely, my plan is I'm 100% in going to JoeCon next year. I know Fred is, I think he's about 85% there, maybe.
It's like 95.
Okay. I didn't want
still in a kidney. I don't know. We'll find a way.
Hopefully we're both going to go. We're going to hound Savage to give us a podcast panel, and I was on him this year about it. He said he just wasn't going to do one this year, so. And I'll even tell him, look, we'll be the last thing on Sunday. I don't care.
4 o'clock, everybody's clearing out. And there's 2 guys going, I like G.I. Joe.
Yeah, we'll be the only 2 in there talking to ourselves. But yeah, I have plans, that I want to see for the show and for not only but Fred with Joe Battlelines as well to do with me. And my hope is for us to get a panel at JoeCon, and especially with being last year, you never know what's going to happen. When we get there, it could totally change, and they get 2 more years that were unexpected. We don't know, but that's the plan. We'll do some shirts. So again, if you're still watching it, there's 2 people watching. So you 2.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. So if there's people watching and you do watch the video form all the way to the end, and you're interested in a sub team shirt, we're going to do some stuff. I mean, we got some ideas, and we'll make it affordable as possible as we can to everybody. And we just really appreciate everyone who is watching and everything. And I believe the kid's name, I think his name on YouTube was, I believe it was CY was his initials, was the only initials I showed up on the comment, and he said something along the lines how he he wanted to come up and shake my hand at JoeCon. He couldn't find me or get around to it. So I just want to give him a little shout out. Thanks for watching, and thanks for everyone who watches, and everyone, like I said, everyone who came up to me either about the podcast or the unofficial Joe page on Facebook. I really appreciate all the support we're getting on that. And it's every day we're getting new people, man. It's really, even the guys at Roman's Collectibles stopped me Saturday morning or Sunday morning. He was like, "Hey, man, I was looking on Facebook and I was like, oh, right, there's already a 2018 page for JoeCon." And I went to go join it and it wouldn't let me join. And then I looked at it again and it was yours, and you'd already updated that thing, man. I can't believe you already updated that thing. I didn't waste no time. I mean, I figured Sunday was good enough. People needed to know when and where it was. Yeah. Period. And still, you can have it posted all day long, and people are like, "When is it? Where is it?"
What like, convention is this?
Yeah, no doubt, man. There's people that just couldn't read on the His Tank forums, and that's another thing I want to throw out on the His Tank. I know I'm doing a lot of throwouts here. His Tank, they did a lot of. I did a lot of coverage for JoeCon, not only for Hiss, but for the podcast and then the unofficial page. And then I know Fred relayed a lot of that as I was doing it. And he was kind of like, "He's at it again, folks. Oh, my gosh. I wish he'd stop. I got to sleep. We don't care. He's getting drunk." We it worked out really well with the His Tank. So they really acknowledged the podcast a lot. His name's Eric, I believe.
Oh yeah, Eric's good people.
And he goes by is it Kada? I have horrible name pronunciation. It's CIAD. His abbreviation on the His Tanks.
Cobra Island Arms Dealer is what that stands for.
Okay. Well, that's the abbreviation. I'm sorry. Yeah. Y'all know my abbreviation.
Good old Syed.
Yeah, he has been very supportive of the podcast. Extremely supportive. He put it in my link to where it's always there when I post now. He's posted front page news at least twice for us. Every time that he mentioned news from JoeCon, it was my screen name plus the podcast with a link directly to our Facebook page. So I really have to thank all the guys at the His Tank forums who have supported the show and everything they've done for us, and I really appreciate that. And still look forward to working with them as well as the Facebook pages who have helped us out in the past as well. So, all right, I'm done talking. Fred, you got anything intelligent you want to say?
No, we'll be back in 2 weeks with the next episode.
With a special guest, mind you, I am working on. I was hoping to have the answer to announce it. I'll tell you off air who it's probably going to be. Ooh. But as soon as we know, I will be posting it. And Fred, I think, is really going to like this one. Really, really like this one more than he liked Joe.
My eyebrow is raised. I can't actually raise it any higher. So, but yeah, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back at our regular time, I believe, on Saturday. We did this to accommodate Joe tonight. And again, if you're still watching at this point, keep your eyes peeled to our Facebook page as well as JBL's Facebook page, or go directly to the Girls of the Finest page and support their calendar for this next year. Again, I know I've been holding up the two that I had in reach. Oh, that's the back of it. But seriously, these ladies go all out. They make very good quality calendars, nice wall art. And, it just is, it's a great way to showcase their passion for the brand and also have some Joe on your wall throughout the year. So absolutely, if you can at all, if you're at all interested in doing it, just throw some support behind them. They're good people. And it's going for charity. So that's it.
Yeah, great ladies, and they seeing it firsthand is a whole different thing, man. They do great work out there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching on the video. And if you made it this far, we'll see you in 2 weeks at our regular scheduled programming time at Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless we have another conflict of interest in time and then we change it again on the fly.
And we'll have a new Tiger Force shirt in 2 weeks.
Yes, Tiger Force.
Week 2.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye night, guys.